Harris, the woman they said was the future of American leadership, y'all, she just tapped out of the California's governor's race before it even started. Like, it ain't even started yet. Cam went from the White House to the maybe I'll just stay home house real quick. And I guess the donors dried up, the enthusiasm flatlined, and y'all, even her old boo, Willie Brown, said, girl, this ain't for you. This is not your calling. And if anybody knows Kamala better, it would be old Jack Leg Willie Brown. Y'all, man, I'm about to have fun with this one. Y'all, let's get into this. You guys, welcome back to Unshakable with April Chapman, where we discuss all things social, cultural, political, and theological from a biblical perspective. I am your host, April Chapman, and y'all, today's topic is one that I have been itching to dive into. Kamala Harris just made the headlines again, but this time it wasn't for butchering a speech or cackling uncontrollably or making up another word salad about Venn diagrams and time travel and school buses. No, this time she finally gave us some clarity on her political future. And y'all, it's about as inspiring as California's soggy paper straw epidemic. She's announced that she will not be running for governor of California in 2026. But y'all, honestly, Kamala, you could have called me, girl. Like, you could have picked up the phone and called me, and I would have told you. I would have told you 4 years ago that this was a bad idea. And I would say, no, we ain't gonna be able to do it. But now, before I dive into the commentary that y'all know I am gonna bring, I want to go ahead and set the stage. So, y'all, let's take a look at these clips.
News. And that breaking news coming from former Vice President Kamala Harris, as she has just announced that she will not be running for California governor, opening up the race for many eyeing the position, especially in the Democratic Party. In a statement today, Harris said, quote, in recent months, I have given serious thought to asking the people of California for the privilege to serve as their governor. I love this state, its people, and it's my promise. It is my home. But after deep reflection, I've decided that I will not run for governor in this election. End of quote. Thanks for joining us at noon. I'm Lisa Gonzalez. This announcement comes after much anticipation for her decision to run for governor of California following current Governor Gavin Newsom's departure in 2026. The decision leaving many wondering who will be a lead candidate in next year's election. We have KCRA 3 Capitol correspondent Ashley Zavala joining us. This is huge news, especially for the Democratic Party and people who were kind of waiting to fundraise and really get their campaign going.
This essentially breaks a dam that was holding up this race, especially when it comes to fundraising, because of Harris's name recognition, because of her place in the Democratic Party, her fundraising ability. This governor's race was essentially stalled for Democrats at this point as she made this decision. This is the high stakes race to replace Governor Gavin Newsom, who terms out in 2026. You can only serve 2 terms here in California. There is a long list of people vying for this office.
Y'all, let's just keep it 100. This ain't about deep reflection or loving California. Kamala's not running because she knew she would lose. Okay, period, full stop. The queen of DEI, y'all, she got the memo that even in her deep blue home state, that folks are just not feeling her. America wasn't feeling her, and her own home state, they are sending a very loud message that they are not feeling her either. She's just not likable, okay? I said it, okay? It's not sexism, okay? It's not sexism. It's not racism. This is not any form of voter suppression. This is about accountability and meritocracy. Y'all, she did a horrible job as the VP. Can we just go ahead and finally just say that? She is simply not an executive level leader. She's not. And I don't care. I don't care how many silk presses and ugly pantsuits that she puts on. Nothing can change the result of her performance. Now, you know it's bad. You know it's bad when your old side piece, when he got to come out of retirement to tell you the truth because you ain't getting the memo and you ain't picking up the context clues. But y'all, take a look at this clip.
What did Willie Brown say to you about Kamala Harris? Because there was a lot there.
He in effect said he doesn't think governor is a fit for her.
Mm-hmm.
He talked about her strengths in the legal world, but not as an executive, which to me was pretty stunning because this is a guy who knows her very well. He's a legend in Democratic politics, right? He's been a mentor to Kamala, and he actually cares about the future of California authentically. And he, in effect, said she should try something different.
And he also said to you that he told her that when Joe Biden offered her the vice presidency, that she should turn it down and try to be the attorney general instead.
He did. What he told me is that when she was one of the final five and Biden was reviewing the final candidates, he recommended to her when she asked him for his advice that he suggest that Biden nominate her as the attorney general. And it goes back to this theme of he believes that Kamala is better in the legal world, not as an executive. And that's so important right now in terms of what California needs, which he and I talked about further in the episode.
And Willie Brown was like, all right, girl, look at here now. I know you ain't never listened to me a day in your life, but you need to listen to me now. If you don't listen now, I don't know what else to tell you. You simply ain't that good at this, girl, okay? We both know that you are good at a lot of things, but executive level leadership, nope, that is not it. Like that is the conversation that I am pretty sure that Willie Brown had with Kamala Harris. So Willie Brown, who was her mentor, her plug, and let's be real, her former situationship, despite what they may have had in the past, I believe that it takes a real friend to just come and tell you the truth. And I honestly don't think that Willie was being a hater. He really wasn't. He was just telling her the truth. Now, as a side note, I don't know what kind of relationship Kamala and her husband, what's his name again? Doug Emhoff have. But y'all don't think it's strange that she's a married woman and she's consulting with her former side piece for mentorship and advice? I mean, I don't know. These Don Diddy crafts are something else. I tell you, that would just be a little weird in my world. But then again, I'm not a Democrat. But seriously, Willie Brown, he is someone. He knows her resume and her receipts. He knows it well. And he just straight up told her, listen, you need to go on a pass on the vice presidency and stick to the legal lane. But Kamala, she has never met a ladder that she didn't want to climb, even if she had to step on the Constitution to get there. And against her better judgment, she ignored Willie's advice, and well, we see how that ended up. She should have listened to him because it's obvious that he knows what he's talking about when it comes to these things. But here's the part about this breaking news announcement that I am trying to figure out where the Democrats, why do they keep showing deference to this money-hungry, fiscally irresponsible campaign-bleeding candidate? Like, why do they keep doing that? The Democrats, y'all, they stalled the entire California governor's race, waiting for this chick to make up her mind. Like, this was not a hard decision. And I'm trying to understand, people paused fundraisers, candidates sat back and just waited. Why, I do not know, because for all of her clout on paper, like she's got a lot of clout on paper, there was zero excitement on the ground. Like none. Like nobody was excited for her to be the VP candidate, and nobody was excited when she ran for president. Like, we are all still laughing that she thought that she could actually win. I am still laughing at all the Black women that thought that she was a good idea for this country. But the lack of enthusiasm alone, that was a telltale sign of everything that we needed to know. It said everything. And I'm like, so you mean to tell me that the former U.S. Senator, a former California Attorney General, and sitting vice president, she couldn't muster up enough momentum in her own backyard to launch a campaign? Yes, that is exactly what I am saying. Even liberal delegates at the state convention were like, listen, Kamala who? We don't know nobody by that name. Listen, let's just call this what it is. This was a mercy exit before just this huge public embarrassment. I mean, who are we fooling here? And let's not forget, this is the same woman who the Democrats, they tried to force feed us in 2020 like she was political filet mignon. But it turns out she's closer to like mystery meat or worse, spam in a microwave tray. Like that's what Kamala was in terms of political prowess and skill and knowledge, right? This is the same media. These people actually told us that Kamala was the future. And now everybody's sitting back wondering if this woman even has a future at all. The fakery is astounding. Democrats will try to sell water to a well. And this should let you know that is how dishonest they are and how trifling they are, because no matter what the signs that were pointing the writing on the wall, they wanted to ignore all of that just to do what they wanted to do. They did not care. But just for a moment, let's talk a little bit about legacy, right? Because Kamala Harris's career, it is a case study in what happens when you prioritize identity over integrity. She was never the most qualified. She was just the most convenient. And it is about time that we start saying that. First of all, Kamala, she checked all the boxes. Woman, check. Black-ish, check. Right? Good enough, right? Will say anything or do anybody to climb to the top of the ladder. Check. This was the perfect diversity hire. And it's like, this is a party. They needed someone who checked all of these boxes, and it's because they are more concerned with checking boxes than checking and yielding results. And so she didn't just ride the DEI wave, y'all. She surfed into the second highest office of the land, just coasted her way in. And when you think about it, the tide at this point, the tide is going out. And when it does, all you're going to be left with is a track record. And it's not a good one. Hers is a hot mess. She was the border czar who, no matter how many times a media would ask, have you gone to the border? She hadn't visited the border. And then she'd be like, well, I've been to the border. It's down in the South. Like, it's there. The inflation, she enabled all of that inflation that we are experiencing now. She was the tiebreaker vote for Biden's bloated budget. So that's her fault too. We got to lay that at her feet. Then the VP, she was the VP to the most disastrous presidency in modern history. Her fingerprints are all over this national crime scene. And now she just wants us to pretend like, well, I'm just going to quietly bow out to serve in other ways. Ma'am, please. Like, please don't serve us. Don't serve us nothing. We don't want what you serving. No, absolutely not. We don't want what you selling. We don't care if it's crudité and crackers or charcuterie board on a pretty silver platter. We don't want it. No, thank you. Now, some folks are going to try to spin this as, Kamala, she's so humble, right? This is just humility. She's regrouping, or, she's going to just spend time and think about 2028. Girl, bye. No, get 2028 off your mind. This isn't chess. It is checkmate. This is what it looks like when the chickens have come home to roost. And Kamala, she just sitting back and crying and drinking and just trying to figure out what she gonna do with the rest of her life. Well, I can tell you, it definitely should not include public office, like elected official office. Like, no, it can't be that. If Kamala had the numbers, y'all, she would have run. If the donors were even remotely excited, she'd be printing yard signs. And if she had a base that actually believed in her, that she didn't have to pay, y'all, she'd be out here kissing babies and pretending to care about potholes right now. But she's not doing that, because even the Black political elite, they're not even fooled anymore. At least not after that embarrassing presidential loss. And then not after her, she had an entire presidency or vice presidency, I'll say, that was invisible. And then after she got installed as the Democratic nominee, it was like she was there just to lose to Trump again. At least that's what it looks like from my vantage point. So in all of the things that we were to examine, like, okay, well, what could she possibly do next? Like, I mean, Do we call her Supreme Court Justice Kamala? Do we call her Attorney General Kamala? I'm not saying it's impossible, but the only way that's going to happen is there'd have to be another Democrat president in office for her to either remotely tout any of those titles. But I say, let's just pray real hard that some part of this nation still has some competence and they won't allow that to happen. So we're going to bring it all in, and I'm about to land this plane right here, y'all. Kamala Harris is the living, breathing, cackling reminder of what happens when we confuse confirmative action with actual achievement, okay? Y'all, meritocracy always wins. I don't know when we're going to learn that, believe it, and accept it, but meritocracy always wins. When you elevate people based on race, gender, or line dance vibes, as opposed to focusing on their merit, you know what you end up with? You get weak leadership, policy disasters, and national embarrassment. So no, Kamala, you don't need to run for governor. You don't need to run for president. You don't need to run for anything except maybe run to a Bible study at a real church, because it is time. You need to spend some time, Kamala, and do some reflection. Not political reflection, but spiritual reflection. There's a verse in the book of Proverbs that comes to mind that I want to share with you guys on this topic. And it's from Proverbs 16:18. And you might even know it by heart. It says, pride goes before destruction and a haughty spirit before a fall. And y'all, girl, this is a fall steep for her. And so I'm curious to know, what do you guys think? Did Kamala make the right decision? Like, should she have tried again for, to run for governor, just to make sure that it's really, really over? Or do you think that, yes, she absolutely made the right decision, because there is no way in hell that she would have won? But whatever it is that you think about this, I want you to sound off in the comments and just let me know what you think. And then don't forget, join me over on Patreon, you guys. The link is down below for you to join. I'd love to have you be a member of what we do behind the scenes and content that I can't talk about here on this platform. But until next time, you guys, stay bold, stay biblical, and above all else, stay unshakable. Grace and peace.